Hey guys, June wraps up in a very anticlimactic fashion. What can we do? Hi guys, if you are new here, welcome to the Book Path. I'm Nicole, and if this is your first rodeo, thanks for sticking with me. Like I said, June is done. It felt very uneventful as far as reading goes. I mean, it was an eventful and busy month, much busier than I anticipated. But I did only 6 books this month. I fell short on a few things, but I did finish one more book for the month. Took it with me on my family little trip that we had too, and that was Alice Hoffman's Magic Lessons. This is the prequel to the Practical Magic book, which inspired the movie that has Sandra Bullock and Nicole Kidman. I loved that movie growing up. So I wanted to kind of read the book, and then I found out that there was a series and that this was the actual prequel to it. This is supposed to be how it all starts, where the curse originates from on her family. If you don't know, the Owen women are all witches, and they're cursed to basically the men in their lives that they fall in love with, like horrible things happen to the men. That's what I remember from the movie. And in this one, you're supposed to find out how the curse happens to these women. And what I didn't like about it, because it's easier to say what I didn't like about it first than saying what I liked about it. The whole thing, what I remember from the movie is that when you fall in love and you are with the guy, you start to hear the clattering of like this death beetle, and it shows up to like mark the death of the men you love. And they were trying to like break the curse or kill the bug or whatever it is so that the girl that is in love can save the man that she loves. Well, in this book, the death beetle exists prior to any curse happening to the women. So the fact that it already existed before the curse in their lives, it didn't really make me feel like there's a curse. Plus, spoiler alert, cover your ears. I'll give you a thumbs up once I'm done with the spoiler. In this book, when they think they have, I want to say they think they have the curse because the guy never dies at the end. Like, she somehow saves him, or it's in this very roundabout way where he does, but then he comes back or whatever it is. So it just basically doesn't really feel like there's much of a curse, really. It's more of like psychological, self-inflicted type, if that makes a sense. So thumbs up, spoilers done. But I did end up reading this, rating it a very high 3. There's not really any spice in it. Like, there's scenes, obviously, but it's more like we laid together, or we spent the night together, or it's like one of those kind of fade to black type of things. What I did like about it is I loved it was very vivid in the scenery and describing what the towns looked like, what the forests looked like. I loved the animal familiars that they would encounter. I kind of felt like Maria, the main character, and then her daughter Faith kind of would like doom their own selves or curse their own selves with just like the kind of stubbornness that they had. Like, they wouldn't listen to reason, and so because of that, they would do things that are like, this is not going to end good for you. So that was kind of annoying, but I loved the fact that while Maria is growing up and learning from the different women who have knowledge, they share it with her, and she lists like the different herbal remedies for things or what she's learned. She lists the rules for what you should, abide by. And the things happen, like where she learns from England first, from the woman who raises her. Then she learns from her mother, that's like maybe a little bit more into the darker arts. Then she ends up in the islands and she learns a little bit of like the Caribbean magic and things. And then she goes to New England. So you're getting a glimpse to historically what some of these like folk remedies were, or like magical recipes were. And that was kind of interesting. And then she would put like little bits of actual history in there. I mean, obviously they cover the Salem witch trials in here too a little bit, but my favorite thing that I remember reading in here was about the pirates. and one of them, I think it's William Kidd or Captain Kidd, and how he was responsible for donating the money to build Trinity Church in New York, which I find really interesting because Trinity Church was featured in the movie National Treasure at the end. Like, that's like below the Trinity Church is where all the treasure that they find is. So it was just interesting knowing that originally that was like helped to be built by a pirate, and then in one movie it's being used to like host the like all the treasures of the world. So I'm like, it was just really interesting to see that, and I did actually have to Google that to be like, did that really happen? And yeah, so it just has like some really interesting little bouts of history mixed in that make you like, does that really happen? And you got to go look it up, and so you're finding yourself actually learning from reading what's referenced in this book. It is like, it feels very anticlimactic, like even when like events are unfolding and people are on the verge of being hurt or worse, you don't feel a sense of urgency with it, which was a little like, but you just felt calm while you're reading it. But at the same time, like things just felt comfortable, and things felt like they were beautifully written to a point where you're not just like, oh my gosh, this paints a beautiful picture. It was just beautifully simplistic, if that makes sense, in the writing. So I'm like, even though it was like a higher 3-star for me, it was, I mean, it was a 3-star. I liked it. I did enjoy it. It wasn't like the worst. It definitely wasn't the worst thing I've read recently. Wasn't like, in no way, shape, or form was it ever going to be a 5-star for me, but it was just a very comfortable, nice, good story to read. And so I did enjoy it. So I will be continuing with this series because I do like like I said, I like the way she writes, where she's including bits of history. She's including this great landscape and backdrop for the stories, and how the different areas affect what plants and what is being used to help people. So that was really interesting. So this was my final book, and this was for the Clear Your Shit Readathon. This was for the Sun card, which was to read a book that had like gold or bronze or silver on the cover. And as you can clearly see by me doing this, it's obviously got some goldish colors with a little bit of like, it looks almost silvery and a little bronzy in there. So I went with this one. But basically, I ended up finishing my literature book club read, which was Twisted, and I did that in a previous review. I did 6 out of the 9 prompts for the Clear Your Shit Readathon. One of the books I was supposed to read for a prompt for that readathon, as well as for my second prompt for the Magical Readathon Choose Your Own Adventure that she does monthly, was to read a book that had a foreword or a prologue. And for that, I was supposed to read or finish reading Gods and Monsters by Janie Marie. I did not get to this, but I did say in my July T.B.R. video that this is going to move forward into July's so that I can get back to being caught up with this, as well as doing the July prompts, which were really easy. It was like to read during the day and then to read at night. I think she's being nice to us before we get the onslaught of the Magical Readathon summer equinox courses, which is always a lot more heavier than the spring ones. So I will be tackling this one. So it's not gone yet, but I didn't get to it this month, sadly. But yeah, other than that, it was a pretty busy week. We had a lot of housework being done. My oldest was home from school, and then we started summer school, and then we had a mini little family trip planned to visit some of our family down in Florida. It was very short. It was like only like 3 days there, really one full day there. And we ended up taking our kids to the zoo, which did not go as planned. But one of the cool things that we did get to do was we went to have an encounter with the penguins, the African penguins they had there. And we met Kitsune. I think I pronounced it. It's either Kitsune or Kitsune, but it's basically the Japanese word for fox, I believe. But I'll go ahead and post a picture of her up here. She was adorable, and she was so little, and she came waddling out, and we got to actually pet her. You used 2 fingers and you stroked on her back, and she was really soft. I did not think that penguins were that soft, but she was just a darling. Unfortunately, we couldn't stay for the full experience. My kids got out of hand. We weren't able to stay, and we didn't want to take away from the other people that were there for the experience as well. But when we went to go and pick up our pictures, the lady at the counter came over with this little penguin here and said that the trainers over at the penguin exhibit were sad that we couldn't stay for the whole thing, so they decided to give our kids this lovely little cute penguin, which is actually made from 100% recycled materials. And it so this is our little kitsune that we brought home, and she is adorable and she is cute and she is also very soft. So we are very grateful for that. So if by any chance somebody from the zoo, the Tampa Zoo, is watching, to the penguin trainers, thank you so much. We really did enjoy our visit. We loved getting to meet the penguins, and thank you so much for this gift. Other than that, the month was just what it was. Hopefully I will be able to get back to reading the 8 to 10 books that I used to read. We are hoping. And so I hope you guys are having a great time, that you guys are staying hydrated in the heat. And what are you guys reading? What are some of your fun summer reads? Let me know in the comments below. And I look forward to seeing you guys in the next video. Bye.